So, OpenAI are actually going to be releasing a new web search product in a couple of days. And whilst, yes, the date may change, here are all the details before that product is going to be announced that we do have currently. So, you can see right here, what we are currently looking at is a screenshot from an article from The Information being a very, very trusted journalist, especially in the AI space. Somehow they've managed to get news before many different people. I'm guessing that they have really good journalism teams, but you can see that OpenAI develops a web search product in its challenge to Google. So essentially what they said right here is that OpenAI has been developing a web search product that would bring the Microsoft-backed startup into more direct competition with Google, according to someone with knowledge of OpenAI's plans. Now, this original article was actually written on February the 18th, but I'm actually covering this now because with many different rumors coming around and with the fact that there have been many new subdomains popping up, it seems that we are nearer and nearer to this release. Now, essentially, I highlighted the fact that OpenAI are in direct competition with Google for several reasons. One of the main reasons is that if you are in the AI space, you'll know that coming up very, very soon is Google's I/O event. So, if you didn't know, on Tuesday, the 14th of May, 2024, there is going to be a new Google event. Now, this is an event where they're going to be talking about some of their, and essentially Google I/O is the annual developer conference organized by Google, and it's a multi-day event where Google showcases its latest products, its services, and its technological innovations, mainly focused on software and developer tools. And essentially, some notable highlights from the past I/O events include launches of new Android versions and features, launches of Google's new phones like the Pixel phones and the Nest devices, and of course, advancement in Google's AI and machine learning capabilities. So it's going to have a lot of very interesting things. This is going to be happening next week, and most people are wondering what Google is going to present. Now, why did I talk about Google's thing? That's because many people are stating that what's going to happen is that OpenAI are probably going to release their product probably about 1 or 2 days before Google releases theirs, which essentially means that we're going to have a very, very big week in AI if this is true. Now, with OpenAI, if you don't know, they've actually been in some real competition with Google. And I'm going to get into all of the leaks behind this and an actual small preview of this search tool, so stick around for that. But something that goes on at these top labs is that with Google and OpenAI, they've actually been on a poaching spree. You can see that, currently OpenAI's hidden weapon is ex-Google engineers. And as of recently, they've been continuing to attract the top tier talent from Google. And if you really want to know why people are leaving companies like Google for OpenAI, it's not just because of ChatGPT. Google has the most compute, it has the most money, but the problem is that Google just doesn't have a great culture at the moment where they are shipping products consistently, and many Googlers have left to start their own companies due to that frustration, which we'll get into later. But essentially, what we have on our hands is something that they said would be powered by Bing. So in the article, they said that this would be partly powered by Bing. Now, this is rather interesting because one thing that we have seen recently is we have seen major upgrades to Copilot. You can see that, Copilot essentially is a version of Microsoft Bing where it uses AI in order to give us information on many different things. It's like ChatGPT, but with search, if you didn't know, and it's natively integrated. So this is something that you can just pull up on the sidebar. I'm pretty sure most of you who are in the AI space know exactly what this is, but I'm guessing that maybe this is going to be an even better supercharged version of Copilot/search in a way that uses that kind of engine, but in the ChatGPT ecosystem. Because unfortunately, I don't think Copilot is used by enough people to actually make a dent into Google's market share. So I'm guessing that what they're doing is they're trying to make the dent with, of course, ChatGPT launching an advanced internet search feature, which definitely does put ChatGPT in the very, very dominant space because they already have millions and millions of users and they already have people that use their product on a day-to-day basis. So this is very fascinating because I'm wondering exactly how it's going to be similar to this and if the UI is going to be the same. and if, maybe, just maybe Copilot is going to be completely scrapped. Now, remember, this is something that is always going to be there, okay? The Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella actually did state that he was going to make Google dance by incorporating AI into Microsoft's Bing search engine. If you remember, Bing wasn't actually like that before. It was just a pretty bland and boring search engine, and many people would only use Internet Explorer in order to install Google Chrome. But like I said before, this is something that is coming up very soon, and within the next 2 weeks, we're going to have our answers. And like I said as well, Microsoft's Bing search engine, they failed to dent Google's search dominance. And most people, like I said before, right now you're on this video, you're watching this, you're someone that's in the AI space, but most people don't know about any AI search tools. They don't use ChatGPT all the time. They literally just go on Google and still use it, and it's pretty terrible. Now, essentially, what you need to know about this new tool is that, like I said before, the reason I've decided to make this video is because the first piece of information that we do have is that we have these subdomains. You can see here that OpenAI's SSL certificate logs now shows they've created search.chatgpt.com, and this shows us that they are getting ready potentially for the launch of this search website. So this is something that you can find if you just look on the website. This is something that's there, but this goes to show us that ChatGPT are really trying to play chess here. Now, what does this actually look like? Well, there are two things that you need to know on how this is going to look like. So essentially, we have a small demo from Tibor Blaho on Twitter. This is someone that is constantly looking around OpenAI's website, looking on the code to see if there's anything that OpenAI may have left out, and if there's something that we could potentially see due to them having to update the website just before they release a product. So this is potentially what it's going to look like. And of course, remember that this is not what it's going to look like in terms of the final version, but this might be how OpenAI implements it in. So you can see right here, this is the kind of web page, and it has a search bar. You can see he types in hello world. Then we have the answer, then we have sources, and of course we do have the images. So I'm guessing that with here, the reason they actually do have a sources tab is that, if you don't know, a main gripe of LLMs and AI systems is that they hallucinate with facts. And in order to, stop that, one thing that other AI search providers have actually done is they've always incorporated these sources, because AI systems tend to make up things and then believe them. And that is a very big problem if you're trying to use it for research, because if you're citing something that isn't real, then your sources are going to be compromised, and the tool is not that good, and you really can't use it. And even if you're trying to cite something and AI stating that something is true, you're going to have to go out and do more research in order to find the PDF, find the research paper, find the book where it's from, and then fact check and verify that that is true, because in some professions you can't just leave a link or just take your word for it. So that is of course something that I do think will be there, and it is something that does exist in the other ones. Now, you can also see here that what we do have is we have images, which does make sense, which is another feature of the other ones. And then you can see that there are some other basic settings. And this is just all based on things that were found in the code. So it does seem like this is very likely to be here soon, because these things are pretty standard. And you can see here, this is potentially the internal message given to the AI system, and you can say it says, the next message will be the text contents of a web page. Summarize the web page into one short English sentence, no more than 300 characters, and generate an appropriate short title. Your summary is a broad overview. Your response is drop-in summary. The page's title is original title. Be succinct and don't start the summary with web page. Reply in a JSON format with the keys, title, and summary. Then, of course, Tibor Blaho also goes on to say that Sonic SNC Search GPT agent seems to be already in the evaluation phase, with the image search, with widgets, with the options to ask follow-up prompts, and of course, like I said before, all insights in this post are based on publicly available information, public client-side ChatGPT resources used for Sonic 2, and investigative journalism in public interest. Screenshots are only for illustration purposes and might differ from the final product. So the point here is that we do have a lot of information regarding this, and we could be getting this as early as next week. And it's not like this is something that isn't needed. If you've ever used Google search, you'll know that not in all instances, but in some instances, you don't get your answer because unfortunately, it's been plagued by people that just want to make money from it. And you know how, for example, you might be like, okay, how do I do X? And then you see an article with 20 different points of irrelevant things, and you're having to scroll through a billion different ads to find something that you do want. This is, the problem. Now, if you want to know how other companies have actually been implementing this kind of thing, one thing that they've actually done, okay, and one company that actually done it correctly is, of course, Perplexity AI. So, if you don't know this company, I mean, most people don't, but I'm pretty sure this is how it's going to be implemented. So, I'm going to show you guys a quick demo on Perplexity versus Google, and then I'm going to show you why OpenAI is most likely going to do something quite like this and how effective it's going to be. So if I type in the top 5 hotels in London, you can see that in my browsing area, we do get a bunch of results. This is, of course, a sponsored ad. This is, of course, something sponsored. We then get these right here, which are pretty good. But this is, I guess you could say something pretty simple. The best kind of thing that we do get here is, of course, these things where people do ask. And then, of course, we do get the top hotels that are there. But sometimes the information that we do get is not great, okay? And this is where Perplexity comes in. So I'm going to take this and then I'm going to switch to Pro mode and then I'm going to type in the top 5 hotels in London. I probably should have included a lot more details, but you can see right here, straight away, it asks me what type of hotels am I interested in. I'm going to say, let's go for luxury and then let's do send and then it's going to search the web now. And then now what it's going to do is curate a individual response for me. So you can see right here, this kind of information instantly that I get is a lot more effective and a lot more usable than anything that Google is currently offering. You can see that based on the search results, here are the top 5 luxury hotels. I get the price, I get the address, I get the rating, and then I get some notes about this. And I can easily go ahead and click onto it. You can see that this is far more effective than Google search. Now, this is something that's also good for, I guess you could say journalism as well, because there are certain things that you just want to know and you just have to search for so long. So this is something that is really, really good. Now, the thing is that this is actually a pretty big business. This is something where the person who actually created the company, so the guy who actually created Perplexity actually did work at OpenAI before, so that's why it makes it so crazy, because what tends to happen is that people tend to go off and create their own little companies, well, not little actually, their own big companies, because they just have these great ideas, they can see where the industry is going, and of course they're smart enough to do so. So you can see right here that recently they raised $62 million in a funding round led by Y Combinator's former head of AI, Daniel Gross, and that doubled its valuation to over $1 billion. So these guys made a unicorn just simply basically tackling a problem that people have had for so long, and it's something that literally I know people use every single day. So the thing is though, okay, is that this is not something that Google is not tackling. The only problem is that Google has actually had a very cautious approach. You can see right here that, Google has cautiously incorporated AI generated answers into its search results. And remember, Google generates $150 billion per year in its search ads, okay? So this is a big thing. But you can see here that this is something that Google just hasn't really done effectively. Now I'm going to show you Google's cautious approach. And remember, this is why people are leaving Google, because this is something that, OpenAI are now going to tackle. And I'm sure that this is once again going to change the landscape, because now that, Google are trying to do this, I'm sure that once OpenAI does it in a way which shows everyone that, wow, this is pretty crazy, Google are going to probably ramp up their efforts. So what they essentially have is this right here. And this is essentially Google's SGE. Search Generative Experience, as they are dubbing it. And right here, you can see SGE is rooted in the foundations of search, so it will continue to connect people to the richness and vibrancy of content to the web and strive for the highest bar for information quality. So you can see right now the articles are not really linked there anymore, but you can see that you have a generative AI system the moment you search. And it says, does honey ever spoil? And then you can see there's information here from likely Gemini or a lightweight version of that. And then you can see you can ask follow-up questions immediately right here. And I'm guessing the main reason, like I said before, is the fact that The reason Google doesn't actually release stuff is because one thing that tends to happen with companies is that when you're a smaller company, you can afford to take risks and move here and go there. But when you're a big, giant company, taking those kinds of risk is much harder because you have your public image to think about, you have investors to think about, you don't want to lose money, you're on a constant growth period. So you have to pick things that are safe. And remember when Google released Bard, their stock price dipped. They were the laughing stock of the internet. So Google's really trying not to have something where you ask it questions and then all of these news articles are coming out and say Google's new AI or Google just ruined search. Search is over. So they have to really kind of play this right. But essentially, they do have it here. It says how does SGE works. When appropriate, SGE will show an AI-powered snapshot to help people quickly get an overview on a topic with factors to consider and helpful information. These snapshots serve as jumping off point from which people can explore a wide range of content and perspectives on the web, and SGE will show links to resources that support the information in the snapshot so people can check the information themselves and explore further. And of course, there's a follow-up question. So the reason I'm showing you all of this is because this is likely what OpenAI's thing is going to be, and I'm wondering if OpenAI might actually include some agentic behavior into this, because I don't think they just want something that's pretty basic. Although they don't want to shock us, they usually do want to have a product that's vastly better than others. And this is essentially Google's SGE page. The only problem is that right now, the problem is that, in the UK, you can't actually access this. So you can click a button here if you want to try how Google's, using AI and how they're doing those kind of things. But yeah, let me know what you think about OpenAI. I do think that this is going to be very, very interesting. We're about to get another change within how we use the internet and how we do look at things. But I think this is kind of good. Healthy competition is good because this just makes the internet more efficient in terms of how we get our information. So this is going to be something that I want to see how it develops.